everyone, it's Mary. Welcome back to my channel. It is day 19 of Vlogmas. Can you believe it has been 19 days of constant content? I'm exhausted. That's okay. Only a few more days left to go. And when I first started out doing my Vlogmas journey, I told you guys that not every day would be booktube related. Today is one of those days. I apologize in advance because my fan is still spinning up there. It's stopping. But until it stops, you're going to see like this weird shadow above my head. Ignore it. But anyway, as I was saying, this is one of those days where I'm going to do non-booktube related content. So if you don't care, that's okay. Come see me on another day. Today I'm doing an ode to my hometown and our connection to a famous Christmas movie. Because it's Christmas, let's talk about Christmas. So I'm going to give you this long diatribe about my hometown and why I love it so much. And then I will tell you at the end what our connection is. So I'm from a place called Hammond, Indiana. That's where I was born and raised. I don't currently live there, but that's where I was raised and grew up my whole life. And we are in this really unique section of Northwest Indiana that's really unlike the rest of the state. So when I mentioned that I grew up in Indiana, people have a very vivid picture in their head of what Indiana is, right? They think cornfields and like a silo somewhere in the distance and like Indianapolis 500. Maybe if they watch sports, they're thinking the Colts or the Indiana Pacers, but that's not where I grew up. I actually grew up closer to Chicago than the rest of the state, and I had never been to Indianapolis a day in my life until I went to college. So I grew up in what's called the region, which is the top northern corner of Indiana. We are right up against Lake Michigan and right next to Chicago, and that is where I grew up. It is a really unique area of the state because of its location and also because of the diversity that we have here. So although we are Indiana, we really aren't like Indiana culture, and our location and our industry has a lot to do with it. So Hammond, Indiana was really built on industry and on laborers. We were known for steel mills, which unfortunately a lot have closed now. We were known for a lot of factories and a lot of industry. So because of that, there has been a lot of immigrants that have came to Northwest Indiana, and a lot of that has kind of filtered out of the Chicago area and into the Chicago area. So we have a very, very, very diverse makeup in Northwest Indiana, where, if I'm being honest with you guys, I have been to other parts of Indiana, which tend to be a little bit more small town, very white. I'm being honest, very white Indiana. But where I'm from, that is not the case. My best friends growing up did not have English as a first language, and most of them did not have the same skin color as me. That's just where I grew up. So I love where I'm from. It's unique, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I love it so much. So first and foremost, reason why I love Hammond, Indiana is, again, because of the culture we have there. So as I said, it is a rich smorgasbord of people that come from all over the world. We have a little bit of everything there, from blacks and whites and Hispanics, and you name it. It's every version of Hispanic you can find and every version of white you can find. So it's not just like Southern white Americans, it's like people from all over. So we actually have a really large Polish community, especially in North Hammond. So when you go to our grocery stores, you can buy pierogies and punchkis and fresh Polish and all this lovely, beautiful, yummy Polish food because of the large Polish population that we have up here. And we actually, in Whiting, Indiana, they have a pierogi fest every year. So you can go get let me tell you, pierogies are the bomb. I love them. And I'm obsessed. So because I grew up on them, and that's what we're known for. And also, I really love punchkis a lot. They're usually most popularly ate in the spring. Something to do with Lent season or something. I don't quite understand it because I'm not Polish, but it's good stuff, and I like to eat it. We're also known for our Greek family-owned restaurants because we have a large Greek culture as well. The Greek family-owned restaurants are very different than any other restaurant I've been to. I've been all over this country traveling either on vacation or for work, and you cannot eat like you do in Northwest Indiana. So the best way to describe a Greek family-owned restaurant is that it is a restaurant that serves literally everything you can think of. So most of them are known for their lemon rice soup. Lemon rice soup is a delicacy across Northwest Indiana, and you cannot get it like you can get it here. Like, I'm telling you, every restaurant in Northwest Indiana has a version of lemon rice soup. And actually, there's like a war of lemon rice soup up here about who has the best lemon rice soup. I have my opinion. A lot of other people have their opinions, but I'm sorry, Commander in Munster still has the best lemon rice soup. I'm just going to throw it down there. They still have the best lemon rice soup. So they're known for lemon rice soup, and they're known for having a giant menu that literally has everything you could possibly think of having on it. But they also have a section that's traditional Greek food, so you can go in and get like pasticcio and baklava and whatever else you want to get that comes from Greek food. So it's really good. It's yummy, and that's what they're known for. And we're just known for having a variety of like really good authentic Mexican stores. Like in Hammond, we had Mexican corner stores pretty much everywhere. We have Asian grocery stores everywhere. We have a lot of world market stores because there's just so many cultures. And then we have some of the best food, I think, out of every place I've ever lived. Not that I'm biased or anything, but we also have the best pizza. So we don't have Chicago-style pizza, but we don't have New York-style pizza. We have what I like to call Northwest Indiana pizza, which the only way I can even describe it is you almost have to eat it to know what I mean. It's a thin crust that's usually crispy. The pizza sauce is usually sweet and not spicy. And it's usually sausage. Traditionally, it's a sausage pizza that instead of having chunks of sausage, is like crumbled sausage. So you have like literal little tiny crumbles of sausage everywhere on the top of the pizza. And it's really good. And I've been so many places and no one has pizza like they do in Northwest Indiana. They just don't. My favorite pizza place growing up was always House of Pizza, which is in Hammond, Indiana, which is where I'm from. And we just have this unique culture of people, languages, food, and a way of being. I don't know how else to explain it. And most of the people I grew up with were, I don't want to say poor, but they were working class people, right? Because most of their parents lived in, either worked in steel mills, factories, or they went to Chicago for work, because Hammond is about 30 minutes from Chicago. So it is very common for people to live in Hammond and work in Chicago, and they will either drive into the city if they live where they can't take a train, or if they work downtown, they will take the South Shore in, which is a train, and you can take the train in, be in Chicago in like 20-30 minutes, and then take the train back and be home in just as quick of time. So it is very common to know people who work in Chicago. Another really cool thing about Northwest Indiana is that we are on the beach. So I actually grew up going to Lake Michigan in the summer, and our favorite beach was actually on the south side of Chicago. So we would usually go there, but Hammond has a beach, and there's basically Northwest Indiana has a whole line of beaches, and the Hammond has a lovely beach. When I was growing up, it was in the process of being redone, and it got redone when I was older. So when I got older, we went more to the Hammond Beach. When I was little, the Hammond Beach was more the marina, and so they didn't have like a beach as much. So you'd go to Whiting, or you'd go to like East Chicago or Gary to go to the beach, but it has been cleaned up and it's beautiful now. And so I would go to the beach a lot. But going to the beach in Lake Michigan is very different than going to the beach on the ocean. If you happen to live on an ocean, the water is cold. Lake water is cold and usually a little bit dirty, but it's beautiful, and it's our beach and we love it. And the best thing is that you could go to the beach, be standing there in the sand with the water hitting you, and be looking at the whole Chicago skyline from Hammond. And I'll put a picture so you can see what I'm talking about. And you can see the beauty of Chicago without actually being in Chicago. But then, because you're so near Chicago, you have the benefits of Chicago, meaning you can go to concerts. You've got all the museums up there. You've got the sports teams up there. You've got, I mean, you name it. Anything that Chicago has to offer, we have access to because we're like 30 minutes from it. So people in Northwest Indiana tend to be more Chicago geared than they are Indianapolis geared, because we don't really get much from Indianapolis. Like, our news comes from Chicago. Our products come from Chicago. Our pricing is Chicago pricing. When you pay for your cell phone bill or your cable bill, you are looped into the greater Chicago region. So we're very Chicago-ish. And in fact, when I was growing up, I could not tell you who was running for Indiana governor, but I could tell you exactly who was running for Illinois, because we get Chicago TV stations all the time. So it's really funny how we're kind of very Chicago geared, but we're not Chicago. So Northwest Indiana is a unique place. I loved growing up there. It was such a diverse area, a rich area in both culture and in people, and really hardworking people and good people, and I love being from here. So when I grew up and actually reached a point in life where I'm like ready to set down roots and to live somewhere, I chose to come back home to Northwest Indiana. I'm not living in the city I grew up in, but I'm living in the area because this is home to me. This is where people are normal, and this is where I wanted to set down roots and be until I'm old and ready to not be here anymore. There you go. So that's a little bit about my hometown, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about our connection to one of the most popular Christmas movies of all time. So raise your hand if you've ever watched, well, don't raise your hand, leave me a comment, give me a thumbs up, whatever, or you can raise your hand if you have watched this movie. Do you remember this movie about Ralphie who wants the Red Ryder BB gun for Christmas, and his mom keeps telling him he's going to shoot his eye out, and he's got the crazy dad who cusses a lot, and the neighbor's dog eats the turkey, and then they have to like go to the Chinese restaurant for dinner and all this stuff. Okay. So A Christmas Story. It is a well-known Christmas movie, especially this time of year. There's a couple TV stations that just play it. There's like a 24-hour marathon of A Christmas Story. I can't remember what channel it is. Is it TBN? Could be wrong. One of the stations showed 24-hour marathon of A Christmas Story every Christmas Eve. And the cool thing about this particular movie is actually written by a man named Gene Shepard. And Gene Shepard was raised in Hammond, Indiana, and actually went to my high school long before I was thought of. But he went to my high school, and he is really well known in our area as being like one of the most famous people to come from Hammond. He was a very prolific writer early in the day. He also did a lot of radio. He did plays. He did a bunch of stuff. If you look him up on Wikipedia, this man was very talented, and he did a lot of writing. And one of his most well-known books was written in 1966, and it's called In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash. And a section of that book is actually about this Christmas story that talks about him growing up in Hammond and his eventful Christmas they had where he wanted the Red Ryder BB gun. And so that section of the book was turned into this movie. And in fact, he narrates the book. So when you hear all of the thoughts in the head of the child, it's actually Gene Shepard who is reading those thoughts. So you hear his voice through the whole movie. And this was my mom's favorite Christmas movie because my mom grew up in Hammond around the same time that he did. And so what she loved was that it kind of reminded of herself growing up. So for example, Gene would talk about in this movie going to the department store to see Santa Claus, which was Goldblatt's. And my mom said she remembers as a child going to Goldblatt's to see Santa Claus. And then they talk about the parade downtown, which was on Hammond Avenue in downtown Hammond. And he talks about being in Hammond, Indiana, which is actually named after this Hammond Avenue, which was the main street going through Hammond at the time. And then the Chinese restaurant that they all eat their Christmas dinner at, with the guy chops the head off the duck and all that, is actually a place called Cam Lan, which was a very popular Chinese restaurant in downtown Hammond. And in fact, I used to eat there as a child. My parents took us there. They liked to take us there after church on Sunday a lot of times. We would go to church and we would come back and go eat Chinese food. And that's just what we loved. And they closed down when I was like in middle school, and we all cried because it was beautiful. They had such beautiful artwork and decor and really, really good food. So that is our connection to Gene Shepard. You can actually see the house that he originally grew up in. The house from the movie is in Ohio, and a lot of the things that all the recording was done in Ohio, but the actual city of Hammond is where A Christmas Story takes place. And so Gene Shepard is very beloved in our hometown, and we actually have a Gene Shepard Center, which houses youth sports, and we have a visitor center off of Kennedy Avenue in 8094, where you can go in and you can see every Christmas season. They have A Christmas Story exhibit, where you can see actual items that belong to Gene, and you can see kind of how he wrote that book. And then a fun fact is that actually a lot of the people from A Christmas Story that are his friends lived in Hammond all their lives as well. So there actually is a Flix Tap in Hessville area of Hammond. that I don't know if it's still open, but I know it was open until like a few years ago. It might still be open, I don't know. That's his friend Flick from the movie. And Harding Elementary School, Warren G. Harding Elementary School, is a school that still is standing. The original building has been torn down, but that is still a school. I actually was a substitute teacher at that school several times. So at the school where they licked the flagpole and all that, that school still exists. You can go see Warren G. Harding Elementary School, even though it's not, you know, it's really not the same building, but it's the same location. And so, yeah, it's fun to watch that movie every year and just get a little bit of nostalgia and to think of home. And I love it. So every time people are like, oh, I love that Christmas story, I'm like, that's my hometown. That's my hometown. I'm so excited. So anyway, this is my ode to Hammond, Indiana, all the things I love about home. And if you guys have not watched A Christmas Story, be sure to do so. It is a cute movie. I think you will like it. And I actually am looking for copies of Gene Shepard's books because in my home library, I gotta have some Gene Shepard books, right? Like, he's from home. You have to have books. You gotta have his books. So if anybody's looking for a Christmas present for me, buy me a Gene Shepard book. Okay, guys, I will talk to you tomorrow. I'm going to talk about my favorite Christmas movies, and then I'll be back on Tuesday for more book-related content. See you on day 20. Bye!